learn to love it because it is the best thing going.
And welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast, along with my partners Brian Siegler, Jonathan Talley, and Shelton Moss. I am Curtis Wilson, and we are, as always, brought to you by Moments on the Maury. Looking for a weekend getaway, but still want to make it to Blacksburg this fall? Then Moments on the Maury might be exactly what you are looking for. Owned by a proud Hokie, located just outside Lexington, Virginia, just a little over an hour drive from Blacksburg. It gives you everything you can think of at a mountain getaway, fishing, kayaking, just relaxing by or in the river with a nice cold beverage in your hand right out the back door. Check out the links in our comment section and also at their Instagram page, Moments on the Maury. Hey, guys, what's happening?
What's up? Hey, don't forget the QR code at the top. If you want to go directly there, just scan that QR code. It'll take you right to the page.
Right on the other side of Brian's head, at least in the picture. Tally, Shelton, gentlemen, what's been going on, fellas?
Man,
not too much.
Busy.
Packing? Are you packing, Shelton?
No, yeah. I'll get there soon.
When do you leave again?
The 17th. So kind of head out to the Pacific Northwest, getting off the grid, doing some hiking and camping. So it should be fun. I was in Blacksburg this weekend for the 4th of July. It was pretty chill. I just went out to Moon Hollow Brewing. I don't know if everyone has been there, Moon Hollow, but it was good. And then headed back to a former coworker's place and just had some hot dogs, played some cornhole, and then saw the fireworks over by the Blacksburg Middle School. So pretty low key day, but finally good to kind of get back to the homestead, so to speak.
Hey, Sheldon made the rounds. Love to hear that.
The rounds went back to the promised land. Well, so it was the typical Blacksburg summer type day down there.
Chill, yeah, it was good. Yeah, the fireworks honestly were a little bit underwhelming. I was kind of joking. I feel like maybe inflation is driving up the cost of the fireworks. So I guess the town of Blacksburg didn't quite have the reserves they normally do. But still
they were all in Washington.
They're all in Washington. Yeah. No. What are you talking about? Franklin has appropriated that budget for the fall fireworks festivities at Lane Stadium. Give me your fireworks. Tally, what were you up to this weekend, my man?
This weekend, what we do?
July 4th.
Tried to stay out of the heat.
That's the
tried to stay out of the heat.
Were you successful?
Didn't have base. That's good. Somewhat. We went to the pool for a little bit, but made that as short as I could to get back inside. So just had a chill day, man. Hung around the house.
Is your pool water like my pool water, like bath water? Right. It's not like pleasurable to jump in.
Pretty much.
It's not
kind of like a hot tub. Yeah, kind of like a hot tub.
Oh, he went hot tub.
Yeah, like human
Mine's
stew.
at least lukewarm bath water. So yeah. Well, good. Any fireworks? Did the town of Huntsville have a fireworks show and it looked crappy?
Oh, they shot fireworks. Yeah, they shot fireworks till about 2:00 in the morning, but I didn't see one firework. I just heard them. Man. We stay right by a soccer field. Yeah, we stay right by a soccer field, so a lot of times they do some things there at the soccer field, and I'm sure they were doing it there. But I was trying my best not to see anything. I just wanted to be in the house and be an old man.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. I was down in Virginia Beach, hanging out with the in-laws, saw the beach a little bit, drove around, did a little shopping, tried to stay out the heat as much as I could, but saw a little fireworks. They were shooting them off in the neighborhood, so saw a little fireworks there. Pretty low key though. It was a good time. Good to see family, hang out, do a couple different things. So it was nice. Finally hitting this run. We've had like a 5 or 6 weekend run of like going somewhere. So this is kind of the first time in a while. This upcoming weekend we'll be at home all weekend. So kind of looking forward to that. Just a little bit of normalcy.
Nice. Normalcy is a good thing here.
What about you, Curtis? What'd you get into? What were they doing over there?
Over here in the West End, well, we hit the pool up a couple days. It was lukewarm bath water. It wasn't that fun. It was hot. I mean, it was 103, 108 heat index, 105, 110 on Saturday. On the 4th, it was brutal. It was hot. It was gross. Luckily, my pool, they served beer, so I had a couple beers that probably went right out of me as soon as I drank them, much as I was sweating. And then Saturday night, Brian, I think y'all all would have been impressed by this. So we cooked out with the neighbors, the crew. Brian knows every single one of them because he sees most of them on Thursday nights. And elite. We had a true barbecue. We did not cook out. It was a true barbecue. Neighbor back here was our Tech alums. He did Boston Butts, so we had some pork barbecue. Neighbor over here, Andrew, smoked ribs and drumsticks. Then we did some burgers, dogs, had every single side you can possibly think of. I mean, more food than you could possibly think of. It was crazy. It was a good time. And then the rains came, which cooled it down. And then somebody shot off 2 firework things at like 8 o'clock.
And that was it?
And that was it right in front of us. But to Tally's point, at about 1 o'clock on Saturday, somebody shot one close enough, woke me up on Saturday night. But you want to say the 4th is over, shoot that shit before 1 in the morning, you're drunks, but it is what it is. But it was a good weekend, long weekend, and you can't beat a 3-day weekend in July. Just wish it's about 10 degrees cooler. So yeah. All right, what are we going to get into tonight? So in just a few minutes here, as the aptly titled of this episode called Erasers, we've heard James Franklin talk about erasers. If you ever watched an interview, he talks about erasers and the type of players he looks for. So what we're going to do here in a little while is just kind of dive in, take a look at this year's roster of kind of not only who we feel can be an eraser, but like who we feel like has to be an eraser. Because if you don't have those type players, then you're never going to win. And then after we get into that, we are going to talk about the all-time Hokie erasers, because as bad as it's been the last 10 years, there's still a lot of erasers that came through this program for a long time. And we're going to talk about some of our favorites here. But before we jump on to this, and I'm going to be straight up because I told Tally when it first broke, I missed it. Tyson Washington, the athlete out of Springfield up in Northern Virginia from the St. James High School, listed as an athlete 6'3", 205, 3-star, consensus 3-star, borderline 4-star, top 15 player, primary recruited by Brent Pry. Tally might have had something to do with this one, as y'all can see his thing there. But he committed back on, I believe it was, the 28th? It wasn't long after we finished. 28th. I wasn't even aware of it. Now, I was on vacation when it happened, so,
Curtis was unplugged.
I was unplugged. I was in Charleston. I was having a blast. But what do y'all think of this kid? Because I've heard a couple people talk about they feel like this kid is not aptly rated where he is. Like, they feel like he is a sleeper. Tally, you obviously knew about it because when I messaged you, like, well, y'all, who is this guy? You were like, you didn't see it? Oh, we lost him. So, Brian.
What's up? At Alabama Internet will get after you. He's back. He's back.
Tally, what do you think? Because you knew about the kid, and like you told me after the fact, after I completely missed you telling me.
Yeah, a good get because of kind of where he's at. He's one of those kids from the St. James School, good friends with Jeffrey Overton Jr., but I mean, a good athlete, 6'3", 205. He's got some good offers. I think he kind of chose us over
Yeah.
Syracuse, I think, was a.
Oh,
Yeah, we in and out. Open the door again, Tally.
Pretty sure y'all lost me.
We did lose you. We got Syracuse.
I'll think. Yeah, Syracuse. I think Penn State and maybe like a Virginia was his final schools, but pretty much Virginia Tech and Syracuse came down to those last two, I think. And so we got him from from Syracuse. But a good get, man. I guess when you look at kids like that, though, it's just kind of interesting to see where they'll fit going into college just because of the size. Will they stay that size and still have speed, or will they get bigger and move to another position? So I don't know. Interested to see what old Pry has for Mr. Washington. But you definitely don't want to lose a kid like that for him to go somewhere like a Wake Forest and then you see him blow up. You know, you want to keep somebody like that home if they want to be home. So good get.
Ron, what'd you think of it? Did you watch highlights or tape since he broke out?
I watched a little bit on him. I think the big thing is that, he's a guy that kind of is a little bit of a tweener. I think he's going to project at kind of a slightly undersized outside linebacker. But I mean, he's a guy that can, I think play that position, especially if he's able to put on, 10, 15 pounds in the weight room. I don't think he's a guy that's going to be a breakout like year one starter or anything like that, or rotational player. I think he's somebody that's going to take, a year or two in the program before we start seeing him contribute heavily. But I think, when you look at the offer list and you look at kind of, what he's able to do, I think it's a pretty good get that, you get a second linebacker in the class. So, I think that's a position that we definitely need to kind of shore up from a depth perspective looking, past next year. So I think it's a good ad. I think, as Tally alluded to, keeping a kid like that in state, eating off a couple of the other regional big players, eating off their plate a little bit, it's always a good thing.
Yeah, that's always the thing. Not going to Syracuse, not going to a Penn State or Virginia in this case. Also, his commitment now, the class is ranked 14th. Now, that's a drop, obviously. Things are changing. But I can't remember who I heard the other day. I want to try to find who it was. Maybe y'all saw the tweet or heard it. It's something like 68% of like the blue chip prospects are they've committed already this year. Like it was some high number, which is first of all crazy. If I can find the article, I'll get the exact number. But it was a very high number because they were making to the point to Tally's home state there, like with Alabama, saying basically the blue chips are like starting to go, and they're like 62nd. Like this team is not going to get a top 15 class because there's not enough out there to get. And again, we saw the swing of basically what happened from early June up until the end of June with the run that James Franklin made. But the other thing I always try to take a look at, Brian, it's your big thing, something we've watched forever, is top players in the state. And basically with the commitment of Tyson Washington, you're roughly 5 of the top 15. Now the highest is junior at 6. So basically from 6 to 15, you've got 3 in the top 10 and then 3 more in the top 15. And that's the stuff we've talked about for quite a few years about that's how you got to do it. And I think as of right now, the whole state of Virginia, pretty much all the way to the top, to the 30th ranked player has already committed. And I think this is an effective NIL because I think that coaches are walking in and saying, here it is. And I don't know how much it is, 100,000, 75,000, 100,000, maybe growing to 150 in the second year. And the kids are looking at it and seeing the money and saying, listen, it's on the table right now. But if you don't commit right now, it's gone. And if you go do some bullshit, it's going to be gone too. And I think that's one of the leverage plays that do happen when you are a coach like Franklin and you've got the war chest effectively for recruiting where you can just throw it and say, this is our number. If you want it, commit today. If you don't, we'll see you.
Yeah.
But that's some of the big things going on right now.
And
out of
there's
the
a couple,
top-
there's a go ahead, Tyler.
Go, Charlie.
Out
no,
of the
you got-
top 40, out of the top 42 kids in Virginia, guess how many kids are not committed? Somewhere.
6.
2.
Damn.
40 out of the 42 are committed somewhere. So, I think you're right, Curtis. I mean, most of the time people are coming in saying, hey, you got a spot now, and this is what we offer. You can take this spot or we'll give it to somebody else. It may be a little bit more to it, but I'm just saying as far as the baseline, that's probably what schools are kind of hitting at in this NIL age. You're going to see some flips. You're going to see some people that's going to change schools because somebody's going to drop somebody and come in and offer something different. But at the same time, like if you sit around and wait or that the days are probably long gone of most kids waiting until signing day and, having 10, 12, 20 of the top rated kids commit on signing day. It just ain't happening.
It's no longer a thing.
Yeah, well, the currency has changed. I mean, the currency used to be scholarship numbers, and now the currency is NIL dollars. And unlike scholarship spots, like you can't just hold on to money because you might have to reallocate that if things go sideways. So you're trying to push guys to commit a little bit earlier. You put money on the table, taking money off the table as you need to. It's a lot different when you're working with NIL versus just those scholarship as the currency of recruiting. So I think that's a big thing. And I mean, when you look at Franklin's history, I mean, he's done had a lot of success with getting classes more or less kind of wrapped up by the end of June. So this isn't atypical of a Franklin recruiting class, even prior to NIL blowing up. At the same time, though, you're seeing this across the board. This isn't just a Virginia Tech thing. This is happening everywhere because I think, like I said, the currency's changed.
I want to get Shelton if you've got a thought on like the way the currency's changed or how kids are committing early. So this is what it is. I found the stat. It came off 247 and it came off like just yesterday. Of the top 500 in the 247, 160 are uncommitted. That is 68% of the top 500 are already committed. 68%. That's nuts. That's nuts because it's not even August. Sheldon, any thoughts on like the amount of kids already committed? Like Tally said, 40. Would you say 40? 38 of 40 in the Virginia top 40 are committed.
40 or 42.
40 of 42 already committed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not too surprising. Like, obviously, Franklin's made inroads here, and I think he's really kind of emphasized recruiting the state when necessary. Like, he's not just going to recruit it for the sake of itself, but when the talent level is what we need it to be. But yeah, that stat. What was it you said? 140 of the top 500 are uncommitted so far. Was that the stat?
160 of the top 500 are committed. So 340 of the top 500 are already committed to a school.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that compares like to previous years, like if that's a big or small number, but I'd be interested to see. I'd be interested to see like how that compares historically at this point in the year.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like it's ahead of that. I don't know to what degree it's ahead of what a standard year would be. I don't know if Curtis is efforting that or if we're but I think it's one of those things where I don't think that's going to necessarily change as we get kind of further in NIL. I think it's only going to accelerate because like I said, the currency has switched up, and I think the approach that coaches are taking now, they're starting to get a better grasp on how they want to allocate how they want to plan their rosters. Like we're a few years into this thing now, and I think they're starting to get their feet under them a little bit, and this is kind of a byproduct of that. Kind of fully shifting gears away from those scholarships being the primary currency for recruiting.
So it'll be interesting to how all that continues to go. I'm going to try to effort it for you, Shelton, over the next little while here, because it to me, it just never felt like, I think it's what Tally said. Our mindset was always, you saw so many more higher profile guys recruit earlier. There's only 5 stars left in this class. And I think there was like 31 total. That never used to happen. You feel like half the 5 stars would already be locked up. The other half would make their decision on December. But I'll see if I can find that stuff for you, Shelton. Let's flip it over real quick. I don't know if y'all watched the Brian White press conference. I took a little bit of time to, and something that really caught my eye is he kind of mentioned over and over, and it kind of reflected what Shelton had said on the episode before the presser, which was about how he would grow resources and revenue streams from elsewhere. It seems like that's his thing. That's what he's brought in for. Not necessarily to manage everybody. He'll do that on a day-to-day, but his number one goal is to find more money. And he said it several times. And again, I'm sitting here listening to it. I'm like, that's exactly what Sheldon said. So Sheldon had that pegged from the get-go. But I want to have a little fun with this. And I know we got a few people out here listening tonight. But if there is one sponsor, oh, by the way, the other reason I'm asking this too, if you didn't notice today, the Big 12 might have got the worst deal I've ever seen when it comes to putting labels on uniforms and on stadiums and all over the place with the Monster deal. If y'all didn't see that, it looked good. It looked great when it first came out, right? It looked great. Like, oh, man, Monster's getting there. Monster's getting in there. And they're going to probably have a lot of money, maybe a few extra, 10 extra million. Brian, how much was the deal worth for each team in the Big 12?
It was like 1.2. It was something ridiculously low.
They can't even buy a good quarterback with this Monster Energy deal. What a shit deal. But it opened my eyes up, and I want to ask not only for y'all who are out there listening tonight or watching, whatever you may be doing, but for just these other 3 gentlemen right here. If there is one sponsor that the Hokies could have a relationship with, and I don't care if you feel like it's socially cool or this is going to be big money or it's like great brand to have, who would it be? And you can think out of the box, in the box. I don't care. But who would it be? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
What's that lawyer's name that always get? What's the lawyer's name that gets people out of jail?
Gets people out of jail?
Yeah, what's his name? I don't want to bring up the one case that he did, but the guy that's around Blacksburg that most
Jimmy
athletes use.
Yeah.
Jimmy Turk.
Whoever
Jimmy
he worked,
right?
whoever Jimmy Turk
right?
works for. Yeah. His law firm. Whoever his law firm is, that's who we need as a sponsor.
Jimmy Turk.
I mean,
That might not be a problem. That actually could happen.
Yeah, we need to get him on there.
Hey,
Hell,
man,
I don't even know.
get
I don't even
Morris
know if he
there.
needs to be. Yeah, I don't even know if he's supposed to be still a lawyer. Like he doing a lot of stuff, man.
The
He's
Sheila
getting everybody
Motor Mile,
off.
baby.
Sheila Motor Mile.
Yeah.
Hey,
All right,
give me Philip Morris, man. Give me Philip Morris. Put some Kraft food logo on there. Maybe some Zen. I don't know.
Marlboro. Is there throw Marlboro? To hell with it. I mean,
Man.
it is a in-state. Technically, it is a in-state company.
Yeah.
Altria and all them. I mean, you got a campus 2 miles from me, and then the big place downtown. That'd be fine.
Yeah. I mean,
That'd be-
you could do that. Hey, Dominion Energy could get in on this thing, man.
Yeah. Hey, if there's the merger and everything, but who knows what that's going to bring. Shelton.
Hey, we got the Energy Center out in St. Paul, so I mean that's close enough. That's in the ballpark.
There you go. That's true. Shelton. These guys joking.
Well, a couple of years ago, I would have said Boeing because the CEO of Boeing was a VT grad, but I believe he resigned under not great circumstances. So we'll probably have to leave that one on
That's
the
okay.
draft for now.
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean Boeing. It's a very
okay.
profitable company. I mean, certainly would give you a lot of a pretty decent deal, I think. But I do agree with what Momos and Mario said. Like something I feel like auto related or car related would be pretty solid. Like AutoZone, like I said, Sheeler Motor Mile, like gas. We get into the gas industry. I think that'd be pretty fitting given our proximity to Bristol and obviously the Battle of Bristol being a part of our lore. I think that'd be pretty cool.
All right. Well, this is. I was expecting.
I
someone
just
to
want
say
to
that.
cheat. I want to cheat.
It's not cheating
wanna
anymore.
cheat.
They're not
Yeah,
cheating anymore. They just
I
give you
wanna
more
Can we
money.
get Metallica to sign on?
Forget Metallica. They don't want to help us.
Took them long enough. to
Did
get
I see
here.
Wild Turkey? Somebody said Wild Turkey. What
My turn.
That's pretty
Wild
good.
turkey.
about Bowman's? Let's get Bowman's in that bad boy.
Bowman's. Yeah. What is it? The one up in Fredericksburg, the good bourbon place. Do we
Phil-
enter every quarter?
Phil said Boar's Head.
Yes. We got to think out of the box. What about what is it? Genio? The Genio, the turkey company, the ground turkey company.
Oh yeah.
We sell turkey legs. Shit. Why not go Genio? Serious.
Hey,
you said cars.
When we gonna bring forward the seltzer? We got to get a seltzer in here.
Hey, listen. I hadn't talked to him in a while.
Cut water.
Huh? What'd you say? He said something. What'd you say? Stop eating the mascot at games. What in Arby's?
Stop eating the mascot at game.
You know, there's a couple around Virginia, and you can think of. You said cars, CarMax, located directly here. I don't know if they can do. They had some struggles last quarter, but it's a way that I think is going to happen. And you feel like in each state there is going to be. I immediately think for somebody said this the other week. Like, what about Kroger? Kroger's all over the East Coast, all over the Central part. You know that eventually some of these things, they're just going to choose one school. Yep, Carter Cat is on board. Actually, I read that. So Carter Caterpillar, one of the bigger Caterpillar dealers on the East Coast, is actually a sponsor now. But all that sort of stuff, you start thinking about it, and it's, again, Shelton, I know you wanted to talk about your article because Shelton, if y'all hadn't read it on the Key Play, I mean, go ahead and mention it, bump that article because it was good, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So I kind of did a little bit of a deep dive into the Brian White tenure at FAU. I just kind of wanted to give people a feel for who he is and what his resume kind of looks like. I think he did a pretty decent job at FAU, given historically they're actually, I didn't know this until I started researching, but historically they're actually one of the worst programs in football, men's and women's basketball. Mainly because they're a very young school. They don't have a very strong donor base, and they just haven't really had the time to kind of, build themselves up on the national stage. But he did a really good job, certainly in men's basketball, obviously with hiring Dusty May. And in terms of football, I found a bunch of really good stats as far as him building up the fundraising base. 5 years prior to his arrival, compared to the 5 last years he was there at FAU, he doubled the percentage of the athletic department funds that come from fundraising. And the percentage of revenue from donations for FAU was the third highest total in the American and top 12 among all Group of 5 schools. So he did a really good job fundraising. I think he can play the donor game very well. And I think the big takeaway for me, at least, what I tried to articulate in the piece, is that I think in contrast to Witt, he just presents a very gregarious, affable vibe. He's very sociable, loves to talk, loves to do interviews. You can go online and search a bunch of interviews he's done. In contrast to Witt, who, kind of, shied away from the public scene for the past few years, never really did any social media. You can argue maybe that's was a smart decision on his part, given how much hate he would have gotten anyway. But I just think it's good to have an athletic director who's young, energetic, and is really eager to engage with the fan base. That's kind of my big takeaway. Obviously, he's got his resume can speak for itself. But I just think right now, Virginia Tech needs someone who presents a positive vibe. And I think one of my frustrations with Whit is that he just seemed kind of like a pessimist, not the best public speaker. I feel like every time you listen to him speak, it was kind of just like you just feel bad about everything. Like it kind of gives you anxiety just listening to him. And I say with all due respect to him, I know he did some good things here, and I think he leaves a pretty complex legacy behind. But I'm just really excited about Brian White having some new fresh blood in there, kind of get some new creative ideas flowing as far as how to generate more revenue. I think it's just a really energetic time for the Hokie fan base. And I think this is what we needed.
I feel like with Whit, like the best case scenario for a Whit interview or press conference was like he would just give you some information. That was the best you were going to get. And then it was only downhill from there if he's passing on bad news or, talking about some things that are less than desirable. But he never did anything to like invigorate the fan base. When he talked, it was very monotone, very steady delivery, but he never looked comfortable in front of a microphone or in front of the press. He just never looked like that was his comfort zone at all. To that point, he didn't necessarily go out there and do it so much that he was highlighting his shortcoming. But at the same time, not hearing from your athletic director in some sort of regular cadence isn't a necessarily a good thing either. To your point about Brian White, though, I mean, completely the opposite. I mean, it does seem very, very affable, very, very comfortable in front of the microphone. Seems like he does a good job engaging when he's conversing with the press, when he's conversing with the media, when he's conversing with anybody that we've heard him talk to at this point. So definitely night and day on that front. And Sheldon, to your point, it looks like the Lane Kiffin situation was kind of just a big swing that they were able to pull off, and not necessarily indicative of their overall athletic funding in their history. So
hold on, this is a great synopsis right here. Phil, you're on it tonight. Yeah,
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh. He ain't Tigger, but he's Winnie the Pooh, which is a great one here. But
I know he didn't hire Lane. I'm just saying I was just looking at FAU football long term. That was really not indicative of their history from a football perspective. So you don't really necessarily knock him or anything for not hiring Lane, because that wasn't necessarily something that was something they had done historically. It was just kind of a big swing that worked out for a couple of years.
Right. Well, the whole thing about Whit is and I don't know how you say this. Some people they choose the worst times to speak about things. That was Whit in multiple occasions during his tenure. Multiple occasions where it's like, everybody remembers 2020, the buyout. Oh, we're going to have a presser today. And every single one of us thought he firing his ass, because what else would you do on buyout day? You don't tell somebody you're keeping them on buyout day. You don't say anything. You just move on. He had, I don't know, like just a terrible sense of when to speak. And then when he spoke, it was what Shelton said it was just unenthusiastic and things like that. By the way, back to my original question.
Weights weigh the same, though, Curtis. Weights weigh the same.
Weights weigh the same. You're damn right it does. But the one company it's a privately owned company, but I think it would be sick. And if you think about this and how many they'd sell, and it's out of Virginia, which I never knew until I did the research on it. But Mars Chocolate Incorporated is out of Reston. Would you buy some orange and maroon M&Ms?
I mean, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, that, like something like that, like get creative with bringing a multi-billion-dollar company like that in. All right, let's keep rolling and let's talk about what we're here to talk about tonight, and that is the Erasers. So, as I've been doing since I guess November of last year, watching a lot of James Franklin interviews here and there. Something that I kind of caught on with the interview with Urban Meyer. If y'all hadn't checked that out, that was actually one of the better ones. With Urban Meyer and Rob Stone on their podcast, and he mentioned it in other podcasts as well. He talked about erasers, and basically, as he started mentioning names, it was basically players that erase certain things. They erase bad plays. They erase parts of offense, parts of defense. They erase, like what Brian put it, if something bad happens on one side of the ball, they're the guy on the other side of the ball that basically gets that momentum back. And what I wanted to do tonight, and, we kind of already probably have this in mind, but who are some of the erasers that you hope happens, that has to happen for 2026? And I just wanted us to talk about that tonight. So, I don't care who leads it off. By all means, if y'all are in the chat and y'all want to throw in who you feel has to be an eraser or who you feel is going to be an eraser this year, shoot it off. We'll throw it in here. But go. I don't care which one of y'all say it, but who do you think has to be or you want to be or are going to be erasers for the 2026 season?
Tally, jump in here. I know you got somebody.
We'll start on offense, Tally.
Offense.
Yeah,
on offense, I would probably say Queso Brown. Having a guy out of the slot that can do a lot of different things. I mean, if you can hit somebody on a screen pass and he take it 50 yards, 60 yards, kind of like we seen Jay Lane do a couple of times, maybe get back and return some punts and kicks to change some field position and stuff like that. I would probably say, that is somebody who we need to be an eraser. And I probably, I would expect to be one.
I'm gonna jump in, Tally. He's one of mine that I thought about too, and it was what your slot says. But I looked up last year, and I know that you can't get all the numbers. And Shelton, you may have sites to look at this, but he caught basically once a game. He caught a third down conversion, and when you start thinking about 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4s, the toughest third downs to get right, having a guy like him in the slot. Like, that's an eraser because those are the downs where it is tough. Like, you can't just gut it up the middle. You can't run on the outside. But to have a guy like him that you feel like he's good enough, he's going to beat his man off the line, and if we put it on, we get 4.5 yards on 3rd and 4, we got a first down. We just erased a punt. We just kept the drive going. And that might not be perfect what James Franklin's eraser is, but that's an eraser in a game where it's like, cool, we're going to do this again because you can't stop him, and we're going to keep moving the ball on 3rd down.
Sheldon, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, I would have said Brown too. Like you guys know, I've been super high on him ever since we signed him. His advanced stuff is really good. I mean, I'm kind of running through the stats as I speak here, but
go for it. Fire it off.
844 yards, 13 per catch, and then 400 yards after catch, 10.7 average depth of target, 109 passer rating when targeted. So I mean, you can go through them all, but he's really good. I think he's gonna be a huge addition, and I could throw Luke Reynolds in there as well. He just looks like he's a stud tight end. So I'd say probably those two guys, but definitely Brown is the one that I'm highest on.
Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to say this number twice tonight, but I'm going to say it for the offensive side of the ball first. Number 16, Jeffrey Overton Jr. Because he is very consistent with what we saw in the back half of last year, but he also has big playability. We've seen him put on a good amount of weight this offseason, still keeping that explosiveness. So he's a guy that can get you those first downs on those short 3rd and 3s like Curtis was talking about, but he's also a guy that can break the big one to negate anything that the other offense has done on the other side of the ball. So to me, that's the type of running back that is an eraser of what the defense is trying to do. So give me JOJ, baby.
like that. I'm gonna go back to Shelton's because obviously I think we'll all agree. Tally, make sure you agree. Luke Reynolds has to be an eraser. And when I say that, because of his skill set, what he does, where he's playing, if Luke Reynolds becomes that seam monster or that short yardage guy, it's going to stretch a defense. And when I say that, if he's killing them up the seams, normally you're going to run a cover two. You're going to put safeties back, right? What do safeties back do? What happens if the safeties are back?
You can run.
You can run the ball easier. What happens if you're not going to do that, but you're going to put the linebacker on him, you're putting the linebacker in a position. And if he's catching the ball and he's making plays, you effectively are really changing the level of the linebackers and the safeties. The run game becomes easier. Things open up quicker. And to me, when I think eraser, you starting to erase, that outside linebacker is going to have to go with him every time. He cannot commit to the run. He can't commit to maybe being a bracket on an underneath like Keyshawn Brown, like Queso Brown, right, Tally? If he's having to chase Luke Reynolds around, you can't have him playing under on a Keyshawn Brown route. It's going to be basically, well, guess what you got to do? You're going to have to play that corner straight up against him. And that's what we're talking about. Who are we erasing? You're erasing parts of their game plan that have to do it. Now, I'm going to say another one here, although I don't know, and it's kind of unusual how I'm going to say this, but for me, I think because of his pedigree, how well he played last year, I need Cal Altuner to become an eraser on the inside of the center. I mean, honestly. And the thing is, I think because of the history here, and we think of how good back in the 90s, and I know we were babies back then. Well, we were babies, Sheldon. You weren't here yet. But Jim Pound was elite on the elite center. And then come into our heyday when me, Brian Talley, Sheldon's a little guy, Jake Grove, elite center, elite. You were so good on the inside with Jake. And if he takes that step, you basically solidify the inside. Junior, Hawk, big-ass Bill Davis, opening up gaps. That's another guy I think who could become an eraser because being an elite center, and he has the traits. It's a reason he was so highly ranked. It changes the game of how teams prepare, especially against the run,
I'm going to, we can go ahead and head down the offensive line a little bit. I can give you general whoever's playing left tackle, but specifically I think it's going to be Logan Holland out there at left tackle. That you're going to have to erase that pass rush coming off the edge. Especially, you got Ethan Grunkmeyer back there. He's got a little wiggle to him. He can take off when he needs to, but he's going to be a guy that's going to be throwing the ball from the pocket a lot. You're going to need to have a left tackle that's going to give that blindside protection on a consistent basis. So you got to be able to erase that pass rush.
Sheldon, Tally, anybody else popping off in y'all's heads offensively that you feel like? Sheldon, you got?
Well, we can say Gronk is going to be an eraser of running the ball as a quarterback. We don't have to worry about our quarterback running the ball 25 times because he ain't running the ball. I promise you that. 100%. He's going to throw it. So,
yeah, he will scramble when there's pressure, but you're not designing runs around Ethan Grunkmeyer.
Uh-huh. And if they are, we in real trouble. We in big trouble if they on there. Shelton, you got anybody else that's popping in your head?
Honestly, man, not really. There's just a lot of young guys that don't have a ton of production. I'm sure somebody will come out of the crop, but I don't feel confident saying anyone in particular right now.
No, and that's what this was about. It shows that we don't have that confidence yet. We mentioned 5 names that might have the capability to be that.
Yeah.
In maybe, middle of the year, we're sitting here saying, man, both of those wideouts are just killing people. We can run the ball on anybody. And that's what you want. Because if you're knowing that there's going to be plays like that, in guys like that who can just make things happen, you feel confident. And as we get to the later as we talk about all-time Hokie racers, it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, other side of the ball, I feel like there's going to be a few more guys just based on the makeup of the team currently. So Sheldon, Brian, Tally, give me someone that is an eraser.
Hey, the other number 16, Noah Chambers.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Noah's going to have a big time breakout year this year. Not only, second year in the system, you got Pry coaching linebackers again. Influence in that room, I think is going to be big. Influence on that side of the ball is going to be big. I think he's going to take a big step this year. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be able to do a good job in run support, but he's got all the tools to support in the in pass protection as well. So pass coverage as well. So I'm really excited about what he can do. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to shine in this defense. So I'm excited for him, and I think he's going to be a big time eraser.
Allie, Sheldon.
Curtis Jones Jr.
I mean,
maybe.
I would say this just to go.
Whoa. Curtis Jones Jr. I want to hear this. Go, Sheldon. And Tally will get
I don't
you.
know. I'm just looking at the guys I've written down. Honestly, like I'm just throwing it out there. Played a little bit at WVU last year, so I don't know. I'm just throwing names out there.
All right, Tally.
Yeah, I would probably say, this isn't my pick, but just to go off of what Brian said, because he said Noah Chambers, I would probably say Caleb Spencer. Know who led the team in tackles last year? Caleb Spencer. You know who led the team in tackle for loss last year? Caleb Spencer. You know one of the reasons why Caleb Woodson wasn't on the field? Because Caleb Spencer outplayed him. So if you think Noah Chambers is going to be a racer, he's going to have to learn from Caleb Spencer, and he's going to have to play off of Caleb Spencer. Now, the person that will erase some of those linemen from getting to your linebackers it's got to be Kamari Copeland, right? He's going to require a lot of attention. So when you talk about erasing some of the linemen from getting to your linebacker so they can go and do their job and make tackles. Copeland, along with they put up a picture the other day, and I think I shared it with y'all. It looked like it was 20 defensive linemen, right?
Oh yeah.
Just D tackles. Yeah, it was a lot of defensive tackles, man. So I'm hoping, and my question was, how many of these guys do we see? That was a couple different numbers thrown out. Maybe put that up one day and talk about that in depth on another show. But Copeland, along with some of the other guys, are going to have to be, very good on that defensive line to keep some of the offensive linemen from getting to that second level. So my pick was Kamari Copeland. Has to be Copeland, right?
Yeah. I think Copeland is the one that we would probably say without a doubt is an eraser. And it's like last year, like 50 tackles, 7.5 for loss, 4.5 sacks, an interception. And I think it's a bigger thing with him is his flexibility. And we saw that last year. And I think Pry is going to leverage that because you can basically play him wherever you want him along the line, even outside. And to your point, Tally, he's going to be the one person they are going to try to find every single play. And to me, that's the definition of an eraser because he's over here. We're gonna switch protection to that side, slide protection, get the chip on that side. Oh, he's in the middle. Hey, running back, we're gonna check out of you running over to the flat. You got to stay in here because if he beats a guy up front, because he's that guy that has that speed power mix where he can bull rush someone, but he can also take a quick step and beat a guy on the inside right through the middle. It's definitely – he's like the guarantee one. One that I think could do something special, and we've seen glimpses of it. And we've seen glimpses of it here and there. the safety. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right?
Quinton
Reddish. And I think he has been such a young player those first 2 seasons. Like he was kind of thrust into a spot where, early on, and then he got injured early in 2025. You just feel like he's that kid on the back end that is not afraid to hit someone, that has flexibility where he can do numerous things. He's not just going to sit there and take somebody's head off every time, but he can go cover a tight end. He occasionally can cover a wide out if you got the right wide out there. And then obviously cover running backs and things like that. So I think he's that potential to be an eraser because he has such flexibility doing numerous things. Now, another thing I'll say is, and I don't know who it's going to be, but I look at the cornerback room. I do. I look at the cornerback room with all the talent in there. Obviously the transfers like Chadwick and White coming in. And then you have Josh Clark coming back. And you've got IBM. And can he elevate like at the nickel? One of those guys, and I don't know who it's going to be. Maybe it's Deloche. Maybe it's one of the young guys just steps up and just takes the reins. But that cornerback room, just looking at either their pedigree or what they've done on the field at other stops, Chuck Talley, you've been mentioning Jacquez White for a while because you saw him play some at Troy. Those guys somebody from that room is going to become an eraser. I think someone in that room is basically going to take away a receiver. I don't know who it is, but there's just too much talent there for someone not to get ahead.
How crazy it is that you've mentioned all of those names and you haven't mentioned the
JoJo
two cornerbacks that played the most snaps last year,
Knowledge Harold
and Thomas Williams. I mean,
it's
that's how much that room is flipped, and we talked about how much it needed to flip based on what we saw last year. That's not to knock JoJo and Williams, because I feel like they were kind of put into a situation where they were playing a whole lot more snaps than they needed to. But I mean, that room is completely different. Obviously, you get Josh Clark back. That's a big deal from injury. That wasn't something that could have necessarily been avoided or mitigated last year. But yeah, I mean, this room is completely a different look from what we saw last year. Outside of kind of IBM, playing a lot of that slot corner. So
it's true. Anybody else on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah.
All right. I told you defense was like, I just went through the whole cornerback room and just said, there's too many good players. Somebody's going to grab it. I think that room will be better. So Brian, what are you looking at here?
I mean, if we're talking about, you got the cornerback room, but your cornerback room is only going to be as good as your pass rush. So you got to mention Javion Hilson here.
Yeah.
I feel like is got to be a name that comes up because you've got to be able to rush the passer. Obviously, you're going to have Kamari Copeland coming up the middle, but you got to have someone coming off the edge and pressing that pocket a little bit. So Javion Hilson, I think, is going to be at least one of those guys. I think he's going to probably be at least the best overall pass rusher at that position. So I think he's a guy that could be a difference maker.
Yeah, I mean, I could add to that. Like, I want somebody to emerge from that defensive end group because, based on my notes, you've got Jones, Williams, Harris, Jennings, Okunlola, and Hilson. That's six. I hope you hope that someone can kind of emerge from that group and become an eraser. But it's kind of like you're playing the whack-a-mole game where you take a bunch of guys in. Hopefully, some of them work out. We've got I think a 27 man transfer class. Like some of them are bound to hit. We just don't know exactly who, but it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and to that point, Jones is probably going to be a very much of a Swiss Army knife, linebacker, pass rusher.
Everything.
He's going to do a little bit of everything. But we can talk about the linebacker room in general is, I feel really good about the two deep at linebacker, at least as good as I felt in a while. So I mean, I think there's going to be a handful of guys. I know we already mentioned two. I mean, but there's a couple others that could, make a name there. I mean, we haven't even talked about Keon Wiley coming over from Penn State. So to what degree he's going to mix into the rotation of the guys that are coming back is to be seen. But that's another piece of the puzzle there that you kind of get a little bit excited about as well.
100%. Tally, you got anybody else?
No, I don't think so. I will say though, off topic a little bit, coaching wise, who would probably be an eraser? If I'm thinking coaching wise, who do you think would be an eraser for what we need this coming up year? Can't be the head coach. Got to be a different coach. Got to be a position coach.
That's a good question.
If you ask me, and
I'm just asking anybody.
I'll say mine because he's got the track record that he makes guys sack people. Is Sean Spencer. It doesn't matter where he has played. Sheldon, so to your point, Sheldon's like somebody from the defensive line has to step up. They have a coach who throughout his career has got guys into double-digit sacks. I mean, the kid at A&M last year would have 15 and a half. We know he did stuff down at Penn State with guys. He can coach. He can coach defensive linemen to get to the quarterback. I'm not going to put it up yet because I want to see what Sheldon O'Brien says because I see it. It's sitting over there. Low Country, I see you. Just hold on.
I'm going to say Ty Howell.
Okay.
I'm going to say Ty Howell because we've seen what he can do with tight ends. We know he was on the short list if Franklin had kind of full control and wanted to do what he wanted to do with that last OC hire at Penn State. And the continuity with somebody that's coming over at the quarterback position with a coach that they are comfortable with, even if he wasn't the guy that was directly calling plays at Penn State, I think is going to be really important. And I think what he can do with that intermediate range in the passing game and still lean on the running game pretty heavily, I think is going to be a good combination for the roster makeup of this offense. So I think it's going to be he's going to be a big time eraser, and he's going to be a big reason why Luke Reynolds is also going to be in that conversation for a big time eraser.
Shelton, any coach you feel is going to be an eraser?
I mean, I would like to see Matt Moore with some decent talent. Like, we still haven't seen that. I mean, we know he did it at West Virginia. I feel like maybe Tyler was going the same way, but get him some dudes in there, man, and like he's going to do some work. Like, I feel like we kind of forget that, like, he was a big time hire, and he just hasn't had the horses to work with. But I mean, he'll get there. He'll get there sooner or later.
Now, I wasn't gonna say it, but I was, I probably was leaning toward Spencer, like when I thought of the question, but I was hoping somebody would say Matt Moore. So good pickup by Shelton. But I guess I'm gonna say, just to go different than what everybody else has put in here, I'd probably have to say Mines. I mean, he's got his guys in. He's brought in some great talent every year. But the knock has been, well, we don't have a quarterback that can get the wide receivers the ball. So we should have that this year, right? Because we haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver.
If he's got time, he's going to distribute the football.
He got a better quarterback to distribute the football.
Right. So I'd like to see where our wide receiver room does and how they have. I mean, you want to say Aiden Green, right? He's put his time in. He's been here the longest. He'll probably get, a lot of opportunity to show what he can do. So I'm interested to see what Mines has, how he has his guys ready to go this year. Hopefully he's in the eraser. Because if we have an eraser in that room, we talked about Queso Brown, and if he's the coach that is the eraser, maybe a fun year.
All right. I'm going to throw two from the chat. Randall was here with y'all. Obviously, This is a big one. That's one people are going to talk about with Brent Pry being the DC. Tally going to be on him the whole time. Wait till he gets a touchdown late.
My question to the chat is, how much leash does the fan base give Brent Pry this year? So say we play VMI and they score 21 points, but we win by 30. How mad is everybody? You know what I'm saying? I just wonder how much leash the fan base gives Brent Pry this year. I feel like it's not going to be a lot.
It's definitely not going to be a lot. And I mean, that first touchdown, should VMI score it, is going to be, he's going to hear about it.
100%.
He's got a ton of, like, he's in a very unique situation because he's going to have a tight leash. But if he does well, I think you're going to see a fan base that is ready to embrace him again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna a lot of it's gonna depend on those first 4 games. If he goes out there and doesn't have a great first 4 games, I think people are gonna, the boo birds are gonna be out pretty quick.
You said if he has a bad first 4 games?
Yeah.
We got something for you to sip on if you have a bad.
He pulled it out. Oh, jeezy.
There it is.
All right.
We talked about it before we got on camera, so I'm glad, Tally, you brought it in.
100%. I'm going to throw another one up here real quick because I do think kind of an underrated guy in the offensive room, Rogerio. He was at Wake for all those years where they did not have even close to the talent, but produced a significantly good offense every year with him and Clawson. And he's not calling plays. He's just an analyst. And that's the kind of guy you want, an analyst like that. And Dwight, thanks for joining us tonight. 100%. They are going to be good measuring game for him especially if we dog whip the first 2. It's going everybody might be feeling good, but everybody like, hold on, let's play D1 talent first, and then we'll see if we'll see where Pry is. So I think overall there's enough guys, there's enough players where we feel like who could be an eraser, but I want to go back and just think about when you knew, and all 4 of us, chat as well, like, do you remember those times when you just knew every year there was an eraser on the field, or there were 3 or 4 erasers on the field for Virginia Tech? Like, you just knew it. Like, nope, you ain't getting shit on this side.
Yeah.
And so let's get to it, because this is like the fun piece. Because we speculated, and we're gonna get into August, and we're going, obviously predictions and all that fun stuff. But I'll start with Brian Siegler. We're probably gonna go around multiple times, so you can't bring up 3 or 4 at once. Just one right now, off the top of your head. Who is one of your favorite Virginia Tech erasers? I don't care what side of the ball.
Hey, I mean it's on the logo for the episode, man. It's Corey Moore. I don't think they're. I mean, if you're talking about like all time, he's on the Mount Rushmore of Hokies, full stop for me. But he is a level of talent and just difference maker on the defensive side of the ball that we've only had a handful of times in our history, and he may have been the best one to do it in Blacksburg on that side of the ball. So yeah, give me Corey Moore.
Sean, what about you?
All right, so full disclosure, I am only going to go back to the mid 2010s when I started following the program, just because I don't really have the depth of knowledge. I didn't see a lot of those old legends play, and so I don't really want to comment on them. So just going to stick with what I know in my era, which admittedly was much less successful than the previous eras. But that being said, I want to go with my guy Tim Settle. He was absolutely dominant in 2017, just eating up double teams left and right. He was part of the Virginia Tech defense that ranked top 10 in SP Plus that year, if I recall correctly. One of the best, I think, post 2011 defenses we've had. I mean, you could put it we've had some really good defenses, but that one, in terms of like the modern era, was probably the best we've had in the past 15 years. 2017. So he was a beast. I just love watching him play. and wish he stayed another year. But he's my guy.
We're going to go around like 5 times because that's just the way I'm feeling it right now. Tally, what about you, man?
Man, I would probably have to say one of the most recent, and this was like Shelton said, maybe 2010 or Tyrod, man. I mean, when you talk about like everybody wants to paint Virginia Tech as this, we just get this talent and it's under the radar. And Tyrod was a 5-star talent. He was a 5-star quarterback, right? One of those kids that you get that you're like, hey, this kid you can't miss, right? So it did matter who was around him. We put some people around him, but I went back. Shout out to Dwight. Dwight posted on Facebook the other day some Tyrod highlights. And if you really go back and watch some of the stuff that he was doing, I think Curtis was talking about, him being dead to right, 14 yards behind the play, and then he turns it into a 14-yard gain. Just different stuff like that he constantly did. That a 5-star talent. I don't mean a 5-star player. I'm just saying a 5-star talent. Because sometimes it's a 3-star talent that's really a 3-star player that's a 5-star talent. But Tyrod being a 5-star player and talent really was an eraser because it was. I mean, he could run, he could move the pocket, he could throw the ball. Very smart, just was able to keep his eyes down the field with Ndamukong Suh hanging off of him. Just crazy stuff that he was able to do, man. That I really, really, really hope we can get back to. I mean, I'd rather us not have Ndamukong Suh hanging off of us. But if for some reason he is, I'd like to get loose and throw for a touchdown pass. So that would be my ultimate one as of late is Tyrod.
I'm old. Brian, we've got quite a few more. And there's some more in the chat. We'll look at those in a second. But I'm going to do mine. And it's David Wilson. Maybe because it's the last name. Maybe because he's from near where we grew up. Yes, he played at a rival high school. Yes, he tortured our friend Robbie Compton for multiple seasons.
Is he the best Southside Virginia recruit Virginia Tech's ever had?
Well, look at what Sia B. Upstart put in because he played at Glass. So I mean,
are we counting Glass as Southside?
I would
Virginia?
count Glass. Yes, glasses there.
All right,
but
so we can put Logan Thomas in there too. Then
you put Logan Thomas in there if you want. But like I say, David Wilson for a few. It's a couple things. Brian, you pointed out one. I'm gonna get here in a second. But I always go back to the 2011 ACC championship game. Yes, we lost that game. Still bitter about it 15 years later. Where he made that play, they ran like a little short side toss, and it wasn't there. And if y'all remember, he kind of circled around.
Twice.
Went one way, circled back around, went the other way, and then finally circled back. Similar to the play Tally's talking about is the Florida State play. Well, I won't forget that because I think he went more than 14. But either way, he was dead to rights on the sideline. Almost got tackled. Remember, it was the one leg up, Brian. Me and you talked about it that Monday at work, like I've never seen balance like that. And he shot up to the left side and made it a positive play. That is an eraser because that play, that second down should have been 2nd and 26. Instead, it was 1st and 10. Now, back to the play you talked about earlier, Brian. This is when he was a kick return specialist. The Georgia Tech game. Shelton, this is probably some of your earliest times. I hope you can remember this. Lane Stadium, it is a Thursday night, playing that stupid-ass triple option, getting cut all over the place. And, Brian, you said defense basically let us down. Defense lets a play happen. Fucking Georgia Tech ties the game. And it's not good because the offense had been sputtering the second half. What's David Wilson do? 102-yard house call. Erased what they did. And with that being said, it was only 2 minutes left in the game. You knew the game was over. Bad drive out of defense was erased. The game was won.
Yeah. Because for all of the Georgia Tech offensive problems they would give us, they were not driving the field fast specialist. They're not running a very good 2-minute offense, so you felt really good about that after they were able to get the equalizer there.
All right. Before we kind of go back around and maybe talk about some other guys, I want to hit up what we got here in the chat. I met Daddy Nicholas, definitely one of the better guys off the edge.
That's just a good dude, man. We've talked to him a couple times. Good dude.
Very nice guy. Very nice guy. Let me go ahead here. My bad. I lost my spot, y'all. All right. I don't know how I feel about this one. I feel like
Shelton might feel stronger about this one than maybe we do.
Trey Turner.
Trey Turner.
Is it? Hold on. Actually, let Randall come back in because he could be talking Trey Edmonds. So I'm gonna pull that back out. Definitely APR the last few years. I mean, you don't get 16.5 sacks. Obviously, I mean, this is before our time, but you don't win an Outland and get the number 1 pick, not being but this is the one we were talking about, Brian. Brian talking about greatest Southside Hokies of all time because it's true. Cornell Brand.
I mean, I talked about it this morning on Rick's show. I mean, Cornell started everything, man.
That was the swing.
Catalyst. He was the catalyst.
He was the catalyst to where we became. And then there's 2 right here.
Yeah.
B. Flowers. I think his name doesn't get mentioned enough. Multiple and Worlds was really good too. By the way, he's talking Trey Edmonds.
All right.
Yeah, that was gonna be my second person. Yeah. When Shelton said settle, I was gonna go Tremaine Edmonds. Yep. Tremaine Edmonds was such a eraser that he got his brother drafted in the first round too. Because Terrell was not supposed to be drafted in the first round. If you just look at the draft, not saying he couldn't play. I mean, he was surprised that he got drafted in the first round. But just listen. Tremaine, I almost said Terrell. Tremaine Edmonds in 2016, 2017 had 106 tackles, 18.5 tackles for a loss, 4.5 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 interception. Know what he does the next year? He follows it up with 109 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. That's ridiculous. We just said Caleb Spencer was our leading tackler last year with 67 tackles. This dude almost doubled that. That's crazy.
Oh man!
Since we're on linebackers, let me go ahead and throw Xavier DB out there.
I'm gonna say, I know you about to say Xavier's senior season. Hold on, before you get into why, because we saw it. So Tally, to go with your Tremaine and why these guys are erasers. Xavier, 115 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 picks. One of them was a house call and a forced fumble. Can we get 2 linebackers like that?
A DB just had this knack of being at the right place when you needed him to be, and usually bringing a whole lot of lumber with him when he came. So it just seemed like that guy was all over the field. And I mean, let's talk about there was so much that was right about that time. Like, dude looked like an animal, and the jerseys that we had at that time, just accentuated it even more.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like I don't know, like he was designed in a lab to play linebacker in that era.
It's true. It's not a joke. It's absolutely true. Sheldon, you got another one that you're just thinking here of?
Yeah, so I'm going to go offense, again, sticking with my era, but Christian Darrisaw, one of the best left tackles to ever put on the Hokie uniform. You could argue one of the best offensive linemen to ever put on the Hokie uniform. That 2020 season with the COVID, just working with the Vice squad, like how dominant that unit was, and he was obviously the leader of it. I've never seen any offensive lineman who was that dominant. Again, in my limited time, I know there've been a lot of good ones, but he just, and I was pissed at that Washington, then the Redskins, now the Commanders, didn't take him in the first round. Pretty bad decision in hindsight, given how well he's done for the Vikings. But he was just an absolute stud.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
He was a
that's
stud.
absolute can't miss. And he came in, did it early, did it great, took it to the Vikings and kept it elite. I mean, it's impressive, man.
We're gonna miss names.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tally, you mentioned. I'm gonna mention one, and this is Heart and Soul of Richmond, Virginia, Highland Springs High School. Victor Macho Harris. He was like somebody put in here. Could Brandon Flowers be the best defensive back in BTN? Maybe, but what Victor did in 3 seasons of really playing full time, 15 picks. His senior season, he had 6 interceptions, and he housed 2 of them in 2008. Had almost 50 tackles. The guy could lock anybody down. He was a chess piece because he knew how to play safety as well. I mean, and I think we go back, if we think about, we kind of we take the DBU thing maybe seriously, but the reason we take it seriously is because Victor, Brandon Flowers, both Fullers. As much as you hate him, as much as he could be a pain in the ass in the locker room, D'Angelo Hall was an eraser. And not only playing defensive back, go punt the ball to that kid. Go punt the ball to him. He take it to the house on you.
Yep.
I mean, we're missing names. It's crazy.
I mean, we could throw Jimmy Williams in there. We can throw
First team All-American.
We can throw
Jim
Willie
Pine.
Powell in there.
It's not a joke.
Daryl Tapp.
Detail 100%. 100%.
Man,
Yeah.
we definitely could throw the GOAT in there. Shoot, I forgot who I'm even talking about.
What's his name?
Gerard Evans. What about him?
Hey,
Game changer. I mean, and see, I know Shelton kind of with the era, but you mentioned Corey Moore with the '99 team. I mean, Mike was an eraser. Mike erased people's ankles. Mike erased people's back ends. I mean,
Yeah.
Mike set a whole new era of quarterback coming through. And we sit here, it's 27 years, and we've been mentioning name. I mean, oh my, I miss Kevin Jones. Brian, the Rutgers run, Brian's first game ever in Lane, getting caught in the corner and then cutting it back for it. Like, there's a highlight reel of that video. And I filmed it the other year, and I texted it to you. I was like, is this what you're talking about? He's like, yeah. He got caught right here, and he just went back through and scored. And there's more. There is a lot more that we're probably not mentioning. Heck, I mean, you
let's throw
mentioned
Jake
Darisaw.
Grove in there because you mentioned him earlier.
Jake Grove. Well, Shelton mentions Darisaw at left tackle. What about Dwayne Brown? Dwayne Brown at left tackle. You were not going to have a pass rush presence on that side of the field, and he could run block the shit out of people. So this is like it's fun to do this because you start going back and thinking the memories. And then Sheldon, I'm glad that you're younger because you mentioned like Tremaine. Tremaine was a beast. I mean, he was an absolute monster. And then again, kind of your era as well. Both Kyle and Kendall. They were beasts. That was fun. That's fun. Might have to revisit that and do it again. Maybe we can add some new erasers to the list this year after the 2026 season. All right. Anything happening fun?
We
breaking?
got one more in the chat that we'll throw in here before we kind of wrap up.
Yep, jump on. Maybe the greatest interior against center. It's like that whole thing with Jake Grove and him. All right. Anything else, boys, before we hit the button?
I think we're good, man. I think we did a good job breaking down these erasers, man. We talked about who could be that on this roster, and we got to go down memory lane a little bit. So always a fun time when we do that.
Nice. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Boundary Corner podcast, brought to you by Mama's on Maury in Lexington. I'm Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler.
Jonathan Talley.
And I'm Shelton Moss.
Visit our website, boundarycornerbt.com, to listen to all of our episodes. While you're there, follow us Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, subscribe on the YouTube or your favorite podcast source. We're on them all. As always, we let our buddy Jason Long play us in, play us out. Check his website out, jasonlongmusic.com, where you can link to all of his music, where it's on Apple, Spotify, his YouTube and Facebook pages. Also, check out where he is going to be playing live in the Roanoke area in the coming months. We appreciate y'all for listening. And as always, let's go.
Okie.
Okie.